Good evening. There is huge speculation after an hour-long meeting between political strategist Prashant Kishore and the Gandhis. And it's interesting that all three Gandhis were there, Rahul and Priyanka, as well as Sonia Gandhi, who was there virtually for that meeting. Now, initially, we were told that this meeting was about Punjab. It was about trying to find a truce between Captain Amrinder Singh and Navjot Singh Sidhu. And Mr. Kishore was there as an emissary for Captain Amrinder Singh. Then today, after the news that CNN News 18 broke first about Sonia Gandhi also attending that meeting, we were told that this was about the presidential election 2022 and building consensus around the name of Sharad Pawar. Later this evening, Mr. Pawar spoke to CNN News 18 and he flatly said that this meeting was nothing about, building consensus around his name for president. Neither is he interested in the job of being president. So what then was this meeting about? We'll try and explore that through the course of Brass Tacks. But first, let's take you through what an uphill task it is going to be to try and revive the Congress party, something even a Prashant Kishore will find difficult. Because number one, the Congress, let's face it, has been reduced to a fringe player in many, many states, whether it's on the eastern belt or in the western belt. Two, there are turf wars even within the Congress, even within those states where the Congress is a player. Look at Punjab, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh. Three, there is a big exodus of young Turks, promising leaders from a Jyotiraditya Scindia to a Jitin Prasada. Number four, the High Command just doesn't seem to be able to restore some order. And number five, there is simply no clarity on ideological issues. Does it want to peddle soft Hindutva, which it tried for some elections? The rejig solution as far as the Congress is concerned. First, Mr. Gandhi needs to make up his mind. Does he want to be Congress president? If he doesn't, then he should step aside for somebody else to take over that position. Number two, the rejig solution as far as the Congress is concerned, swiftly end these turf wars. 8 weeks ago, they were in a winning position in Punjab. Today, they are not, and singularly because of this fight between Captain Amrinder Singh and Navjot Singh Sidhu. Number three, try and placate some of the G23 leaders, make some of them the leader of the opposition, make some of them members of committees and general secretaries and so on. Number four, oppose the BJP on issues, not on the personality of Mr. Narendra Modi, because clearly the Congress does not have a personality that can match that of the Prime Minister. And number five, end this rather big brother approach to regional players. Just take a look at what's going on in Maharashtra, where the third player and the state president of the third player is acting as though the coalition depends on them. But let me go back to this meeting between Mr. Kishore and the Gandhis, because there's huge speculation that's been set off in the wake of that, including some news outlets, and we're not running this, we're completely steering clear of this. Some news outlets suggesting that Mr. Kishore might even become a full-time member of the Congress party. But leave that aside. Pallavi Ghosh joining us. Pallavi, you know things happening in the Congress better than most people. So tell us, what was this meeting really about? Was it about Punjab? Was it about building some kind of a national coalition? Was it about the presidential elections? What was it really about?
It was really about the Congress party because, Sonia Gandhi joining in virtually, I think that's a really huge takeaway. She wouldn't want to join a meeting if she didn't want to ask what was going wrong in the Congress party. Top sources in the Congress party have told me it was a bit about the fact that there are upcoming elections and whether the Congress party is really all that prepared. But apart from that, the fact that the perception about the Congress party is becoming increasingly politically irrelevant, the fact that it was not able to have a grip on the situation, it seemed to be a party in a disarray. All of these questions were actually asked by Sonia Gandhi at that meeting and Rahul and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra also. Look, Rahul Gandhi and Prashant Kishore had a bitter fallout after the UP Assembly elections last time around, Zaka. But, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra and Prashant Kishore have been in touch with each other. Mrs. Gandhi came in at the last minute because she wanted to have those last words. She wanted to ask those questions. As of now, Congress top sources are telling me that it's complete speculation that Prashant Kishore is going to be joining the Congress party, and so are the people who are close to Prashant Kishore also denying any such possibility. But none of them are denying the possibility that Prashant Kishore may be touched upon to get some advice about how to set the party right. Immediately, the challenge is to build up the party organization. That's Prashant Kishore's style. He used to give that advice to Mamata Banerjee also. You have to strengthen it from the district level. That's one. Second, the big elections coming up within the Congress party is their presidential elections, which I'm being told is going to start in process after the monsoon session ends.
We've been waiting for that presidential election for God knows how many years now. It's going to be, I think it's been more than 2 years now since Sonia Gandhi took it upon herself on an interim basis to be the interim president of the Congress party. But be that as it may, thank you very much, Pallavi Ghosh, for joining us with your thoughts and perspectives. Let's open this up to our panelists now. Tuhin Sinha, spokesperson of the BJP, joining us. Sanjay Jha, formerly with the Congress, now a political analyst. He's joining us as well. Rashid Kidwai, author and journalist, and somebody who very, very closely tracks the Congress party, is joining us. And Radhika Ramaseshan, senior journalist, also joining us. Sanjay, I'll start with you. Let's start with the whole Punjab hypothesis, right? Because he is close to Captain Amrinder Singh, and that's the most immediate, most pressing problem for the Congress High Command as well as for your party. What does it say about the Congress party, about this fractional fight that's going on between Sidhu and Captain Amrinder Singh, that they need an outsider like Mr. Kishore to intervene and play peacemaker?
Well, Zaka, it definitely is a mammoth disappointment because, the fact that there has been some kind of a fracas between Mr. Sidhu and the captain has been pretty much in the public domain for a long time. And ideally, the leadership should have intervened and nipped it in the bud. And I have always maintained that, that old fogey, archaic, antiquated style of working where you resolve disputes between powerful political personalities through intermediaries and committees and caucuses, that's history. I mean, the best way to sort out this entire misunderstanding is to have brought the captain and Navjot Singh Sidhu together, had a conversation and sorted it out and said, listen, what are your political ambitions? What are your aspirations? And marry the differences out.
But you seriously believe PK was there to play the role of an emissary or a mediator or some kind of, intermediary between these two warring politicians?
Well, Zaka, I was not the fly on the wall, but I can tell you, I can predict this with some degree of certainty that while, obviously PK has worked with the captain earlier and with some very good results, the fact remains that Prashant Kishore did show that he has a political ambition. And I think that's a very legitimate thing to have, which is why he became the vice president of the JDU.
Yeah.
And today, the Congress remains the national alternative to the BJP, although the Congress may have dissipated in its, compared to its earlier formidable strength. So I think if Prashant makes an entry into the Congress, in my opinion, it's a win-win because the Congress does need to have a strategic thinking that it is completely absent for a long time.
You know what I think of this whole theory of Prashant Kishore becoming a member of the Congress party? I think it's total kite flying. That's really what it is. And Rashid Kidwai, you can back me up on this because, look, let's be very, very clear about this. Election strategists are good for certain things, but they can never replace politicians. Mamata Banerjee's electoral victory is hers and hers alone. Captain Amrinder Singh's election victory is his and his alone. An MK Stallin's victory is his and his alone. Yes, Prashant Kishore can help you go from 170 seats to 200 seats. Yes, he can get you over the line, or he can extend the majority of your victory. But to say that Mamata Banerjee won because of Prashant Kishore or Captain Amrinder Singh won because of Prashant Kishore, that is absolute bunkum. So I fail to wrap my head around, Rashid Kidwai, what is it that the Congress party can offer Mr. Kishore by making him a full-time member? And what is it that Mr. Kishore is going to get by becoming a member of the Congress party? Will he even survive in the camps within the camps within the camps that is today's Congress party?
Yes, Zaka, you are right. You see, the political activity is something that cannot be outsourced. So this is, that's where me and you, we agree. There are several parts of Prashant Kishore's interaction with the Congress party. I think the media is also either exaggerating or missing the point. First is Mr. Prashant Kishore, first and foremost, is the stakeholder in Punjab politics. To my understanding, he had come to, plead Captain Amrinder's case that if Navjot Sidhu is indeed appointed as Punjab Congress chief, when captain may not contest election, and this has a bearing on election. Even if captain continues to be the Congress chief minister, if he doesn't contest election, it will send out a very strong signal.
Let me just say that again. You're saying that if Navjot Singh Sidhu is appointed as PPCC chief, the captain might even say that he's not going to contest the elections. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, 2022 election, and that will have a political bearing on Punjab politics and entire, Congress state. Somewhere, Mr. Prashant Kishore is also very keen that in every state, wherever there is a contest, the BJP or NDA should lose. This is his, something very elementary, because he thinks that, there is a half of half. If the opposition is to get 272 seats, then you see the one half of it, let's say 150 seats or so, should be won by the non-NDA, non-Congress political parties. And the Congress, which is in fray, direct fight against the BJP, it should get 100 plus seats.
Okay.
Then only the Congress will be the opposition will be in a position to do that. Mr. Kishore's priority, to my understanding, is that, not revival of Congress. Revival of Congress may or may not result in increase of seats in Lok Sabha in 2024.
I agree. I agree with that part. I'm just curious to know, again, this whole theory that's being floated, what Ahmed Patel did for Sonia Gandhi, Radhika Ramaseshan, which is basically, he was her political secretary. He was for 10 years, certainly in government and even before that, her eyes and ears politically. Can Prashant Kishore, if not be the political secretary to Mr. Gandhi, can he be the emissary between the Gandhi family and these various opposition leaders, whether it's a Mamata Banerjee or a Sharad Pawar, people who he has worked with? Because clearly none of them want to deal with Rahul Gandhi. They've made that very amply clear. And I don't think Mrs. Gandhi is health-wise in a position to deal with these regional satraps as she did between 2004 and 2014. So can Mr. Kishore play that role of the emissary between the family and these regional satraps?
Yeah, Prashant Kishore is probably better networked among the in the non-BJP spectrum than anyone else from the Congress or anyone else from that spectrum, for that matter. He's been meeting Sharad Pawar lately. He's worked with Akhilesh and Rahul in the UP elections, Mamata, of course, Stalin, the RJD. Probably he also has some kind of a bridge with Tejasvi. So I'm just looking at the important players, or the likely important players in 2024, although I still believe BJP is in a dominating position anyway. So we are talking about the 2024 scenario, but let's also look at the UP election. There are several bridges to be crossed before we come to the presidential election of June 2022 and before we come to 2024. Now, I would be very curious to know what kind of a role Prashant Kishore is likely to play in the UP elections, whether he will try to bring about a rapprochement again between Akhilesh and Rahul, but that was a disastrous experiment. Yeah. So I don't think even he would venture. But to answer your question, yes, he is a credible emissary to network between the Congress and the non-Congress, non-BJP spectrum. There is no doubt about it.
Okay, there was a time when Congress General Secretaries used to do that job. Ghulam Nabi Azad would be the points person to deal with a Karunanidhi. Somebody else would be sent to deal with the Mulayams and the Mayavatis. I don't know, maybe politics is changing. Maybe the Congress party needs to keep up with the changing politics, that it needs a backroom player, an election strategist to play that role of a mediator or an emissary. But let me ask Tuin Sinha, this whole thing is so fanciful to me because in 2024, and this was evident in 2014, this was even more evident in 2019, and I suspect it's going to be full throttle in 2024, where it is going to be a presidential contest. It's going to be Mr. Modi on the ticket, not just on one ticket. He is going to be on the ticket for 535 constituencies. The candidates don't matter. It's going to be the vote for Mr. Modi or against Mr. Modi. And the only way the opposition can counter that is if they have a credible enough face to take on Mr. Modi. Right now they don't. And I, for the life of me, can't see who that face is going to be. Tuin.
Zakat, the best marketing in the world can't fix a bad product. And over here, the Congress is in the present state is a fundamentally and incorrigibly defective product languishing in a moribund state. There are two reasons why it becomes incorrigibly flawed. Number one is the organizational monopoly. In the last 22, 23 years, the Congress has just had two presidents, which rotates between the family members. The BJP has had 9 different presidents. And the only time they came close to electing a new president, that was on 25th August 2019. What did Rahul Gandhi end up doing that evening? Do you remember? Just because they failed in their opportunity to elect a new president, he ends up and peddles this fake news that there is bloodshed in Kashmir after the abrogation of Article 370, and that fake news was utilized by Pakistan to browbeat India on several international forums. So this, unfortunately, is the second big problem of the Congress. It is ideologically corrupt. On the issue of national security, it finds it more convenient to side with China, with the Naxals, urban Naxals, and with the jihadis. In fact, in the recently concluded state elections, look at their alliance partners, ISF in Bengal, Badruddin in Assam. So the Congress has a twofold problem and no amount of effort which Prashant Kishore may put in. And let me make this final point with all responsibility. Prashant Kishore is a mercenary. In order to fund him, the state governments of the Congress might just indulge in unimaginable corruption like they're doing in Maharashtra.
Okay. All right. Be that as it may, I want to come back to Sanjay. And, the fundamental problem, yes, people talk about organizational restructuring. The Congress is a moribund organization. It needs to be built bottom up. But also, Sanjay, can we have some kind of clarity? It's been 2 years. I spoke to Pallavi at the top of the show. It's been 2 years since Mrs. Gandhi took over interim presidency. The fundamental problem is Mr. Gandhi needs to decide what he wants to do. Does he want to be president of this party? If so, go ahead and take charge. If he doesn't want to be president of this party, step aside, give it to somebody else. This latest fascinating thing that's been, doing the rounds, we've had story after story over the last 3 weeks, the Congress is going to change the leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, because they're not happy with his performance or they're trying to build bridges to Mamata Banerjee. There was a meeting today, and you know what happened? They decided nothing. They decided to kick the can down the road. That's what they did.
Zaka, this is the most glaring fault line of the Congress party, not taking a decision. Now, you can take a decision, it can be wrong and you can recorrect it. But to not take a call at all, that is a monumental damage to the party's cadres. I mean, you can't imagine how demoralized people have been within the Congress because you have 2 Lok Sabha defeats. You gave away Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Puducherry, and to the BJP on a silver platter. Almost destabilized Rajasthan. There is problem in Punjab. In Chhattisgarh now there is again a tussle emerging. So clearly the Congress has a lot to look inwards and do its own self-examination. Now I can tell you the one thing that I do believe is happening though, because of the fact that the Modi government has completely mismanaged the COVID. And I think practically every family in this country has been devastated physically, medically or psychologically, has been completely blown over by the incompetence and arrogance of this government, that I do think the opposition, including Prashant Kishore and the Congress, knows that there is an opportunity. And this is why I feel that there cannot be a better time for the Congress to really rise and fight for the people of India. Because I hear this everywhere, Zaka. People are telling this very publicly, that we have been let down. I think Narendra Modi's imagery has taken a massive beating, no matter what the surveys say, and things can change. A week is a long time in politics.
I think a lot will depend on what happens in UP 2022, and there the sad reality is that the Congress is a number 4 player. I'm fairly certain that most of the contests are going to be a BJP SP contest. There could be some pockets where Mayawati is influential. The Congress, Rashid, it's interesting because it was on this very question that Prashant Kishore and the Congress fell out in the UP elections of 2017. He was firmly of the view that Priyanka Gandhi should be projected as the chief ministerial face back for UP 2017. Clearly, neither Mrs. Gandhi nor Rahul Gandhi wanted to have anything to do with it. And you've heard these stories. We've heard these stories as well. That he would suggest X places to start a rally off in at X time to start off, and Mr. Gandhi would turn up late. He wouldn't follow the playbook, as it were. There were joint rallies which Akhilesh and Rahul Gandhi did, which were a disaster, much against Prashant Kishore's advice. So after that bitter parting of ways, why should we believe there would be any meeting ground, even if it is about UP 2022?
Zaka, Prashant Kishore is a success story. Congress has an interest in him. It is entirely up to Mr. Prashant Kishore, who has a temperament of his own, independent mind. I would say a lot of ideas also he has, whether he would want to formally align with the Congress or not, because he can only count on three Gandhis for his support. The problem is we have seen Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, they have not been able to revive the Congress. You look at the situation, see the entire Congress high command is defunct. In Rajasthan, the Congress Chief Minister is not picking up call from AICC General Secretary in charge of the state. He is saying he's on a medical ground for 2 months. He is not available, and Congress has not been able to resolve that deadlock that involves Sachin Pilot. So this is the thing. What can Mr. Prashant Kishore do in the Congress?
No,
Because
so
in
are
Congress-
you saying that an Ashok Gehlot will not pick up the phone call of the General Secretary in charge of the state, but he may pick up the phone call of Prashant Kishore if he were to be given that job?
I don't think so. That is what I'm saying. There is going to be a lot of clashes.
Exactly.
Because Sonia Gandhi may respect him, Rahul, Priyanka, but these regional satraps like all the regional players, because the Congress, there are wheels within wheels, and the organizational hierarchy is very strong. So it will be very difficult for Prashant Kishore. I mean, though I know it's being talked about that he may become General Secretary in charge of elections. Now, elections mean fundraising, elections mean selection of candidates, election means everything. So, will anybody in Congress give that kind of power to him?
No,
And
what does General Secretary in charge of elections mean? I mean, all politicians, at least the serious ones, get into politics to contest elections, to win, and to hold public office. That's why they are there. I don't see, again, Radhika, I'm finding it hard to wrap my head around why would, congressmen and women who have been in this party for 40, 50 years, your Ghulam Nabi Azads and your P. Chidambarams, and your Jairam Rameshes and others, why would they, suddenly give so much bhav to this rank outsider?
Absolutely. I'd just like to take you back to Prashant Kishore's stint in the JDU. Remember, I mean, his proximity to Nitish Kumar was very well known. He worked out of Nitish's home for the 2015 Bihar elections, which was a runaway success. However, when he was anointed as the JDU vice president, what happened? You had leaders, senior functionaries like RCP Singh, who's now a cabinet minister, openly opposing him. The spokesperson spoke against him, regardless of his purported proximity with Nitish Kumar. So, the whole business of lateral entrance coming into a party and hoping to be accepted is a very tough call, and more so for in an old party like the Congress,
Exactly.
which has well-entrenched power centers, which has a well-established hierarchy. And you're right about General Secretary in charge of elections. In the BJP, you have a post called General Secretary Organization, who and the incumbent generally kind of networks with the states and with the Prabharis in the center during an election. I don't know if the Congress doesn't have a post, and I don't even know if it's going to create
I think, Rashid can correct me if I'm wrong, I think General Secretary Organization, isn't KC Venugopal General Secretary Organization?
Absolutely. That's a traditional post.
He
I'm
is.
saying is, if there is election management, then from the Congress side, there is a view that Prashant Kishore should play that role because he's good at it.
Okay,
But it is for PK to decide.
I'm very skeptical about such a role because, I mean, think about it logically, right? I mean, you go to you go to an Uttar Pradesh and tell a congressman that Prashant Kishore will decide whether you're going to get a ticket or not, and how you should campaign and how you should not. Maybe in UP they might, because Congress candidates don't stand much of a chance. But in the states where the Congress has a play, in a Chhattisgarh or in a Rajasthan or in a Punjab, why should Bhupesh Baghel listen to Prashant Kishore? Anyway, we'll see. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, though, to our panelists. This is just the beginning of the story. A lot of it will be sort of flapping of the wings, as it were, as the opposition tries to firm up some kind of a strategy to take on Mr. Modi in 2024. And you will hear a lot more of Prashant Kishore and all of these meetings that he keeps doing. But as we wrap up,